Check 1, 2. Check 1, 2.
Last mic check here, Jackson. Are we good? Check, check. Jackson, you got us. Perfect. All right. Airtime should be just under 5 minutes.
Hello and welcome to the Hillcrest Huddle. I am Brent Jones, your host. Great to have you with us tonight, Tuesday, September 9th, 2025. We are live at Walk-On Sports Bistro as we are every Tuesday night, and this Tuesday night is especially special regarding celebration because the Hillcrest Patriots are coming off the huge win over the Hoover Bucks in the Hoover Met this past Friday night. The first time in school history that the Hillcrest Patriots have defeated the Hillcrest Bucks, and it was just an amazing night in Hoover, Alabama. A great time was had by all, obviously. Patriot Nation is rolling in now as we get ready to bring you the Hillcrest Huddle once again, as we do every week at this time. Let me tell you a little bit about what's coming on the show tonight. As always, we have our interview with Coach Jamie Mitchell that will be coming up in just a couple of minutes. That's always a lot of fun because Coach Mitchell always gives us his insight on what happens behind the scenes and with the team and what's coming up. And if you're a fan of Hillcrest football, it's great to hear this guy talk because he really kind of lets you inside the scene and kind of gives you an idea of what goes on a day-to-day basis and what the coaches are thinking, what the players are thinking, what's coming up with the opponents. He's great to talk to. We'll have him coming up in just a few minutes. Also, of course, we'll have our Players of the Week on. This week, Caden Smith, the wide receiver, the Offensive Player of the Week. Caden, with over 180 yards of receiving this past Friday night against Hoover. It seemed like every time you looked up, Hillcrest needed a big play, and they were going to Caden Smith, and he was making it happen. Just an incredible game from Caden Smith. The Defensive Player of the game, Miles Madden. I've been saying that this guy is my co-host on this show because this is what our fifth Hillcrest Huddle of the season, fourth or fifth. We did one preseason, so I don't know. I'm not a math person, but anyway, however many times we've done this, Miles Madden has been here in this chair. The first week, well, let's figure it out. The first week, he was on as a representative of the team, just for the team preview. The second week, he was on as the Player of the Week for the Florence game. The third week, he was on representing the inside linebackers as we did the position spotlight. And now this week, it will be the fourth time in a row. This week, he's once again our Player of the Week. Of course, he had the huge interception in the fourth quarter that stopped Hoover cold and really kind of preserved the game for the Pats as Hoover was making a charge to come back and try to tie it up. But Miles, he was also all over the field making all kinds of tackles. Miles with an incredible game. Our Special Teams Player of the Week is the Special Teams Player of the Week for the second time out of these three games. It's the kicker, Elijah Miller. Elijah nailing 2 field goals this past Friday night and a couple of extra points. He was money. He was ice cold out there getting the job done. Great to have Elijah kicking for our team as a junior in his first season to kick as a high school football kicker, doing an outstanding job. Later on in the show, we will be spotlighting the position of cornerback. We'll have Coach Brandon Walker here, and he will bring a couple of his guys here who are having outstanding seasons as well. DJ Jones and Kylan Norfleet will be joining Coach Brandon Walker as we spotlight the cornerbacks. All right, so that's what we've got coming up on the show tonight. I want to remind you of all the other stuff that we have going on the Hillcrest Football Broadcast Network. Of course, every game is broadcast live. We will be at Vestavia this coming Friday night as the Pats take on the Vestavia Rebels in another enormous Class 7A Region 3 game. Of course, you can see it on YouTube Live or the NFHS Network. Just go to nfhsnetwork.com, search for Hillcrest Tuscaloosa. Now, that's a subscription service, but if you don't have that subscription, you can watch us on YouTube Live, or if you just like to listen, you can catch us on mixlr.com/Hillcrest Football Live. So 3 different ways you can check out the Hillcrest Football broadcast every Friday night. Also, don't forget there's the Hillcrest Football Review Show. It comes out every Monday afternoon. Coach Mitchell and I get together, and we watch every single play in an edited fashion, so you don't have to watch between, the huddles and the timeouts and all that kind of stuff. Every single play, and Coach Mitchell gives you an analysis of what happened and tells you what's going on in the game. It's great insight as well. It's kind of done in the same way for those of you who might be out there who are old enough to remember. Bear Bryant used to do a coach's show, the Bear Bryant Show, on Sunday afternoons, and he and his co-host would sit down and watch every single play, and he'd comment on them, and it was so much fun. But it's done in that style, and Coach Mitchell, of course, the old school type coach like Coach Bryant was, so it's fun to see him do that and analyze and tell us everything that's going on. So check that out as well on our YouTube channel. The YouTube channel is the Hillcrest Football Broadcast Network. Go there. Let's see, what else we got? Okay, well, I guess that's it. First of all, before we get started with Coach Mitchell here in just a couple of minutes, I want to say thanks to all of our sponsors. County Commissioner of District 3, Mark Nelson. He sponsors our pregame show. Bama Stuff brings you the broadcast booth. Bama Express brings you the keys to victory. It's the Hillcrest Tennis College Football Preview at halftime. Stephen Fikes sponsors all of our first downs with the Stephen Fikes All-State First Downs. Dr. Brandy Patterson of Brookwood Women's Health Center brings us the extra points and field goals. Centel Home Design sponsors our Red Zone. Tidwell Paint and Body is our timeout sponsor. Alabama Credit Union brings you the coin toss. Award Company of America and Walk-On Sports Bistro bring you the players of the game. Stephen Fikes also brings you the All-State Halftime Show. RSV Designs sponsors the scoreboard updates. Tiger Rock brings you all of our kickoffs. Mission Express brings you all of our stats. Mission Express Car Wash, I should say, brings you all of our stats. And we also would like to thank our commercial sponsors, Lee Palace, Bama Stuff, Alabama Credit Union, and Ignite Student Employment Initiative. Okay, it's time for us to take a quick break, and when we return, we'll bring Coach Jamie Mitchell right here to this chair beside me, and we'll talk about the huge win over the Hoover Bucks, and we'll look ahead to the next enormous game against the Vestavia Rebels in Vestavia, just about an hour down I-59. Keep it here. We're back with more right here. This is the Hillcrest Huddle on Tide 100.9 FM. All right, you got me?
Yep.
Okay, good. I guess you've been a popular guy this week, huh?
That's what happens, you know. It's kind of like a girl nobody wants to date until somebody else asks her out.
Right.
Funny how that works.
Yep. Everybody likes the bandwagon, right?
Yep. Plenty of room, though.
Yep. Oh, by the way, everything that we're saying right now is coming out over the YouTube channel. So
Well, good.
I feel I should warn you of that.
Yeah.
It's not coming out over the radio yet,
Yeah.
but it's coming out over YouTube. Hey, YouTube.
Yeah, for sure.
Oh, goodness. Because the broadcast doesn't come from the radio station to YouTube. It comes directly from our output here and the camera right there.
You know, as tech savvy as I am, I understand all of that.
Hello and welcome back to the Hillcrest Huddle, live from Walk-On Sports Bistro. My name is Brent Jones. I'm here with you every Tuesday night. No better place to be on a Tuesday night than at Walk-On Sports Bistro. Outstanding cuisine. It's just the best sports-related restaurant in town. Don't just come here on Tuesday nights. Come here all the time. It's got amazing food. The staff is great. They're so hospitable to us every Tuesday night, so helpful. If you're a Hillcrest Patriot fan, or even if you're not, you should come here to Walk-On Sports Bistro. It's just a great place to be. You may notice if you're in the restaurant or if you are watching on YouTube that sitting beside me right now is a guy who's very popular, Coach Jamie Mitchell. We were just talking about off the air how he had just done another podcast before he came here, and people are wanting to get all kinds of interviews, but that's what happens when your team has a big upset and beats the top program historically in the state of Alabama, huh, Coach?
It is, you know, and we're kind of the hot ticket right now, which is great for our program. You know, it's a great spotlight to have on us, and, you know, anytime we can highlight Hillcrest High School and Hillcrest football, sign me up.
Yeah, right. Well, let's talk about that game, Coach. I want to share with people, you mentioned this yesterday when we were talking, share with people what happened with you leading up to the game. It was not a good omen heading in, was it?
No, you know, and I don't want it to be about me, you know, but I don't know, mid-morning Friday, I got really, really sick, and, you know, I went in the office and laid down for a little while thinking it'd get better, and, you know, we ate a pregame meal, I think, at 2:30, and I went in the office about 2:15 thinking I would try to get in there with that, and I got really, really sick at that point in time, and I couldn't go to pregame meal, and you know, I wasn't sure what was wrong and still don't know what it was, but I was able to get in Coach Patterson's truck and get to the Hoover Met, and went in the coach's locker room, laid down, missed our pregame walkthrough, went out for a little bit of pregame, and you know, the good Lord took care of me, man, and I was able to coach, and beyond thankful for that, and just personally, I feel a little bit robbed that I didn't feel great to enjoy, what a great moment that was, but you know, I certainly have. It's about as bad as I've felt in a long time, but
you know, to me, that's kind of, you can kind of use that as a teachable moment for your kids. You know, you got something important to do. If you're just sick, you kind of work your way through it. I mean, obviously there are levels of sickness to where you can't go, but if you're able to go, you suck it up and you go, right?
Sure do, and I promise you, I was not at my best by any shape, form, or fashion, but I told them in the locker room they'd have to come get me and carry me off before I wasn't going to go on that field with them, you know.
All right, well, let's move on to the actual game itself and just talk about your team's performance in general.
Well, you know, I think we continue to play at a very, very high level, you know, and we take the opening drive and, you know, straight down the field and score, kick off, get a 3-and-out, get another really good punt return, which has been a staple for us early on this season, and it sets us up in good field position, helped by a 15-yard penalty. Punch that one in, kick off to them, and they let the ball get on the ground. We cover it and stick that one in, and you know, just off to a blistering hot start. And you know, as you and I have talked about, good teams, you know, they fight their way back, and Hoover certainly did that. And you know, we were at halftime, we were, you know, on the ropes a little bit, you know, but golly, man, just so many things in that game, so proud of. Our defense goes out, and they've been on the field just about the entire second quarter because of our ineptness on offense. And they go out after half and get a 3-and-out, and get us the football. And, we really went to work from there on. I feel like we really did a good job in the third quarter, and then I feel like we just dominated the fourth quarter, and you know how I am about toughness and physicality, and I think it was on full display in the fourth quarter.
The thing that impressed me, this is what I've been telling everybody, the thing that impressed me the most, like you were talking about, good teams don't lay down and die. A program like Hoover's not going to lay down and die. They've been there before. They came storming back, made it 22-16 at the half. They had the ball to start the second half. And, a lot of people were saying, here we go. It's over with. It was nice while it lasted, but they're about to take over this game and run away with it, especially because of the numbers game, the depth that Hoover has compared to us. But your guys said, we're not going to let that happen. They fought tooth and nail, and they did what they had to do. And like you said, even dominated the fourth quarter.
We did, and I don't know, some people seem to forget what happened a year ago when we played them. And, they beat us 35-6. But if you go back to that ball game, in the first half, we had a touchdown that was called back. We had 2 long runs down inside the 5 that we ended up kicking field goals on. Had we been at our best, that could have been a 21-14 ball game at half, and we were not as good a football team as we are this year. So, I believe that game last year gave us a lot of hope that we weren't that far away, and maybe the 35-6, maybe that looked that way, but we knew different. And I think we went over there with a lot of confidence and a lot of belief that we could do what we did. And man, all the credit goes to these guys sitting right out here. Man, they played their tails off.
One of the things that I always ask you about, you probably get tired of me asking you about, is how you keep the kids on an even keel. Like if they have the big blowout victories and start getting overconfident and maybe don't come to play the next week, or like a game like this where you have probably the biggest regular season win in program history. How do you come off of that? But I heard somebody talking about the really successful programs have what he calls an internal standard. It doesn't matter who you're playing. It doesn't matter what you've done in the past, what's coming up in the future. You have that steady standard that you play to consistently.
That's what we strive for. And, I just used the analogy yesterday and today, that game for us, in my mind, has been swept under the rug, and that's a picture that I want our kids to understand. And, although that game will live in their minds for the rest of their lives, I did tell them that, there will be stories told about that game in their lives when they're 40, 50, 60 years old, However, there will come a time and a place for that, and now's not that time or place, So it must be put away. And I think our program is not to my credit, but we're just so structured in what we're doing. And, I think kids are such a creature of routine, and we're so structured in our daily routine that, it just doesn't allow them any room to get off, and we're going to do the same thing this Monday we did last Monday, and the same thing next Tuesday and Wednesday. And, I just think it's really good for consistent preparation every week. And not saying it works every week, but I think you have a chance to have a football team that doesn't ebb and flow on highs and lows.
Right.
We've never been one. I'm a huge non-believer in firing a team up, emotion's kind of like lotion. It rubs off real quick, and when you get hit in the face, you find out real quick what emotion is, we just believe in being prepared, being tough, being trained, being ready, and being disciplined, and that's what we try to do.
Yeah, I think that's a good way of putting it, too, is that internal standard. It never changes, regardless of what the situation is. And you were talking about how they'll remember this game for the rest of their lives, but they're going to remember it a lot more if they can build upon it for the rest of this season. This can be just like the starting point that kicked everything off.
Yeah, it's one game, and it's 1-0 in the region, and it gets us absolutely nothing other than an important region win.
Right.
And I've said many times, it doesn't matter what region games you win. You got to win enough to get in the playoffs. This is a huge starting point for us and a huge win in our region. but, you know, we've got to have multiple more wins just to get in the playoffs. And that's been my goal from day one is, number one, get in the playoffs somehow, some way. If we can secure that, then we'll start worried about seeding and moving up in that manner. But, you know, this ship's just started, so we've got a mountain to climb for sure.
And that mountain begins the rest of the journey against Vestavia this coming Friday. Now, Vestavia lost to Hewitt-Trussville, another outstanding team in our region, who, by the way, you play the following week.
Yep.
But Vestavia, an outstanding team. They destroyed Auburn, who was the number 2 team in 7A at the time. Vestavia last year, honestly, I think we had the toughest time with Vestavia of anybody in our region last year. That's going to be quite a challenge on the heels of this Hoover game.
I think if you were to poll our audience, they are the last team on our schedule that we want to have to play. They are, what they do both offensively and defensively, schematically, just are torturous to you. And I got some coaches right now that are miserable. We're miserable. You know, they stress you in so many different ways that you don't see on every Friday night, you know, and they're brutally tough. They are so canny and good at what they do, you know, and I think it's just a perfect storm over there right now. You know, Coach Evans is a head coach, and he's a defensive wizard, just an incredible defensive mind. And then, you know, he's hired an offensive coordinator that's very similar to him and just being very untraditional and very different in the way he goes about things. And, you know, it is a disaster trying to prepare for these guys. And, you know, we'll be ready for Friday night to get here. I can promise you that. And then hopefully we can release some of that and go play another great football game. But we've got a huge challenge. And like you mentioned, Brent, they embarrassed us last year at home. I mean, beat us badly. So, you know, trust me, that's in our back pocket too.
Right, and it didn't seem like, you know, they had the just incredible athletes all over the field. It just seemed like they were so efficient and disciplined and knew how to hit you where it hurts.
Those are good terms you used, efficient and disciplined, and that's exactly who they are, and it's how they're built. You know, they have very, very high intelligent kids that can do multiple things, and they play to that strength. You know, it's just their menu of what they have on offense and defense is just staggering, you know. So what a challenge for us, you know. Personally, I wished it was anybody else in our region, but it is.
You got to play them eventually,
though,
right?
Right, you know. So let's get it on, you know. We'll be ready to go.
And like they say, to be the best, you got to beat the best.
That's exactly right.
One last question, because I heard some people talking about this on the radio on the way here, and I thought, that's interesting, and I bet you I know what your answer to this is going to be. They were talking about the difference between a football player, a guy who can play football, understands the game, and is just tough and play the game, as opposed to the guy who runs the 4.2 40, you know, is great on the bench press and the vertical leap and all that, has all the measurables, but he doesn't really understand or play the game properly. I have a feeling I know which one you'd rather have.
Funny you mentioned that. The last conversation I had on Rick Cleveland's podcast before I got out of the vehicle here, he asked a very similar question about seniors. And, you know, we got 37 seniors on this football team. And to be honest with you, my heart goes out to those 15 to 17 that don't ever get to play on Friday night. I love our great players. I love them. They're playmakers. They're special to us. But what about those guys that are in that program, they've been in that program for 4 years and are committed to staying in our football program, that know on Friday night they're not going on that field, you know? To me, those are the guys that I love to be around, and they're there for the right reasons. They're there for the brotherhood that's there and a belief in the common goal that we have and the camaraderie and the teamwork. And to me, man, that is what is so special about high school football. And sure, I like Zay Halls and Miles Madden and Caden Smiths, and I love those guys too, you know. But, man, what about those guys that don't ever get out there, you know, and they show up every day just like your best ones do? And give me a boatload of those guys, man. They're some of the most important pieces of our program.
Yeah. All right, Coach Mitchell, great talking to you, as we do every Tuesday night. Looking forward to another big one on Friday.
No doubt, another road one. So
that's
we're
right.
kind of the road warriors here early on. But,
That's right.
That'll pay off for us on the back
That's
end.
right, absolutely. All right, thank you a lot, Coach. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
All right, that's Coach Jamie Mitchell joining us here on the Hillcrest Huddle, as he does every Tuesday night at this time. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we are going to bring our players of the game to the table. On offense, it was Caden Smith, the wide receiver. On defense, Miles Madden, the linebacker, and on special teams, Elijah Miller. Those three guys coming to the table to talk to us in just a couple of minutes. Keep it here. This is the Hillcrest Huddle on Tide 100.9 FM. Oh, I forgot to pick up y'all's plaques.
Oh, yeah.
That's all completely on me. I just
Where is
forgot.
that?
But I'll get them for you. I'll bring them to you tomorrow.
All right. Miles, stop smacking in the mic.
That's not me.
Yes,
I'm
it
not
is.
even moving. That's not me.
Yes, it is.
Oh, by the way, everything y'all say right now, we're in commercial on the radio, but it's coming out over YouTube.
Okay.
Right, so anybody watching on YouTube's hearing what you're saying right now.
Sorry,
Just so you'll know.
Sorry.
Just so you'll know. All right. We are back. It's the Hillcrest Huddle on Tide 100.9 FM and on the Hillcrest Football Broadcast Network YouTube channel if you want to get a video shot of these guys here at the table with me now, who are our players of the game. To my immediate left, we have Caden Smith, the wide receiver. To his left, we have Elijah Miller, the place kicker. And to my right, my co-host for the Hillcrest Huddle, Miles Madden. You know why I call him my co-host?
He's on here every day.
He's been on every single week so far. You think he can make it through the whole season?
Ooh, Miles, that's a challenge right there, Miles. That's a challenge.
Because the first week he was here just representing the team,
Yeah.
just as a player representing the team in the little preseason huddle we did. Then the second week, after the Florence game, he was our defensive MVP. Third week, we did the position spotlight of inside linebackers. And now the fourth week, after the Hoover game, he's our defensive MVP once again. So, Miles, since you're my co-host, I'm going to start with you, okay? I want to ask you from a player's perspective how it affected you and the team knowing that hardly anybody gave you a chance to win this game. How did y'all approach it? How did that affect y'all?
Man, I mean, when, like, everybody at the school, they was like, who we going to beat y'all? Who going to do this? We like, okay, keep on saying it. We like that. They give us energy and give us motivation. Just go ahead. we finna show y'all why we better than Hoover, why we beat them.
What made you know that y'all were going to be there and be in that game?
When everybody was locked in the locker room, when we got there to Hoover, Coach Mitchell was sick than a dog.
Yeah.
Everybody, we was quiet, locked in. Everybody just focused and just ready to go out there and kill somebody.
You know, you're talking about Coach Mitchell's sickness. How did that affect the team, knowing that he was under the weather like that?
It affected us by, man, we got to go out there and make our coach proud. He's sick. We got to go help him. We got to go let that man enjoy his sleep.
And what about when he showed up and y'all saw that he was going to be there on the sidelines with you?
It felt amazing. It was like we got a coach that's going to be there when he's sick and when we need him the most.
Gotcha. What do you think the key to the success for your defense? Because, I mean, that's a powerful Hoover offense. Y'all held them to 26 points, lots of 3-outs, big-time 3-and-out right there at the start of the second half. What was the key to y'all's success?
I mean, just communicating as a team and just knowing we are brothers keepers and we got each other back.
All right, I'm going to come back and ask you one last question in just a minute, but I want to move on to you now, Caden. I wanted to ask you, I mean, you had that's probably the most yardage you've had in a single game at Hillcrest, is it not?
Yeah,
Thompson, you had more than that? Okay, well, it was pretty close because you were, 180-something yards? 187 yards, okay. Well, it seemed like every time we needed a big play, there you were, wide open, and he's slinging the ball to you. How were you getting so wide open? What was working so well?
They DBs, they straight backpedal, so we play we had ran a lot of underneath routes. So they was just wide open every time, and I was just execute my plays, refusing to get tackled. So.
Everybody just seems so confident. You know, Miles was talking about that. I said, yeah, we'll show you. What do you think it was that made y'all so confident going in?
We just had a lot of people doubting us. I just feel like we had to show up and show out and give the people what they was not looking for. So I think we did that, and we did that perfectly.
Any concern about overconfidence now after a big win like this?
Nah, we still got our right side of mind. We just moved on. We don't even talk about that no more. We moved on to Vestavia. Now we got somebody else to beat that beat us real bad and embarrassed us at our home field.
That's right.
Now we got to return the favor.
Okay, now I want to talk about your teammates on the offense. First, I want to go to your offensive line because they often don't get as much credit as they deserve. Tell me what they mean to this offense.
Oh, they're the whole offense. They're the reason why I get the ball. They're the reason why we score touchdowns. So, I mean, we ain't nothing without them. So, we should give them boys the world. We should be taking them out of dinner every day.
Right. Yeah, they're doing a great job for sure, and they're helping out another guy who's doing a great job, who's getting you the ball, your quarterback, Jordan Chambly.
Yeah.
Talk about him.
Jordan is amazing. He's a great quarterback. His IQ level is getting there, but he's a great quarterback. He got the arm, he got the talent, he got everything. He can run it, he can throw it. I mean, it's all there. I love him so much.
The thing I love about him is he doesn't hesitate.
He does not.
He makes that on that deep ball that he hit you with that you got inside the 5. That guy was right on top of you. He's I don't care. He decided. He didn't hesitate at all.
That's how much trust he got in me.
Yeah.
I'm going to go get it.
That was awesome. How do y'all plan to attack this Vestavia defense? I know they do a lot of tricky motion and movement and trickery and stuff.
Yeah, I ain't going to say too much. I don't know if they watch it, but we got something special for them.
Okay, you do?
Yeah,
all right. Looking forward to that. All right, appreciate it. Great game. Okay, now I want to move on to you, Elijah. Elijah, you're here for the second time, right? You're a first-year kicker. This is your first year to kick in high school. How do you go out there, especially in a game like the Hoover game, how do you go out there and stay so cool and calm and not get nervous and miss the ball or anything?
Forget about everything. You just got to go with a blank mind. Just go out there and do what you know what to do.
Is that what you do? Is that just kind of, hey, move your mic a little bit closer to your mouth. There you go. Is that just kind of your personality and how you approach things in life?
Yes, sir.
Tell me more about that, like when you're in stressful situations. What do you do?
Stressful situations, I kind of just take a deep breath, breathe out, just kick it. You just got to go out there and attack it.
You know, and I can tell just sitting here talking to you right now, you're just kind of a laid-back guy and just kind of take life as it comes, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. And, you know, to be a successful athlete on the field, and I know y'all will agree with this, you have to have that mentality that you don't freak out in stressful situations, right? Yep. And you want the ball in your hand, or you want the situation if you're on defense, or you want the ball on your foot. in those moments. That's what you live for. You don't treat it like, oh my gosh, I don't know if I can do this, right?
Yeah.
You say, bring it on. I want. Am I right about that?
Mm-hmm.
Tell me about how you approach those situations. Any of them.
Good, man. Then I go after you.
How I approach it, man. For me, how I approach it, I just go out there and be me. I just go out there and be me.
Okay,
Just
that's a good answer.
Go out there, blank mind, concentrate, be like, oh, all these eyes counting on me, all these people counting on me. I gotta make them proud. I
Okay.
just go out there and do it.
Okay. Miles is just Miles. What about you,
Yeah.
Kate?
Miles. I treat it like, you know how like everybody run away from danger? I run to the danger. That's how I feel. Like I'm
Okay.
running to the danger. I'm embracing it.
Okay.
I'm taking on everything that come with it. So if I drop the ball, I drop it. If I catch it, I catch it. I'll move on to the next play. We're going to attack it again.
Awesome attitude. What about you, Elijah?
Same thing like I said, deep breath, go for it.
All right. Well, you guys are doing a great job. Let's keep that attitude, and let's carry it over to Friday night against Vestavia.
Yes, sir.
Yes,
Let's
sir.
do it.
All right. Thanks for joining us.
Yes,
That's
sir.
our
Thank you.
defensive player of the game, Miles Madden. Offensive player of the game, Caden Smith. Special teams player of the game, Elijah Miller. We're going to take a quick break, and when we return, we're going to go to our position spotlight. And today we're going to be spotlighting the cornerbacks. We'll have a couple of guys. Let me see. Who did he say he was bringing with him? We'll have Coach Walker here with DJ Jones and Kylan Norfleet. We'll have those guys coming up for you next. And the cornerbacks, keep it here. This is the Hillcrest Huddle on Tide 100.9 FM. All right, welcome back to the Hillcrest Huddle live from Walk-On Sports Bistro. Brent Jones here with you. We're talking Hillcrest football tonight. We're spotlighting the position of cornerbacks here now. We got Coach Brandon Walker here with us, and we got a couple of guys from his cornerback position group. We've got Mr. Norfleet here, and we got Mr. Jones, another Mr. Jones. Guys, great job this past Friday night against Hoover, but Coach Walker, I want to start out with you. And I know that, the head coaches and the coordinators usually get all the attention, and we know their stories. But I want you to share with our listeners and viewers out there your journey to Hillcrest, because you are a Patriot through and through, aren't you?
I am. I graduated from Hillcrest in 2007. I was on the state championship baseball team in 2007, and I loved there and wanted to play baseball and football in college.
All right. And how did you end up as an assistant coach at Hillcrest in football?
Originally I spent 7 years coaching, 6.5 years coaching at West Alabama. Got out of coaching and didn't want to coach anymore. I met with Coach Hinton one summer, and he's like, "You need mentors at the school." So I was like, "Do I do anything?" So I came in and started working in school. And I met Coach Mitchell, and it's like, you got to work for him. So he got me back into coaching football.
There's something special about this group of coaches, isn't there?
Definitely. It's a cool dynamic that we have. We're all real close, and we're all like brothers.
Yeah, for sure. All right, well, speaking of brothers and special groups, I feel like you got a special group of cornerbacks here. Talk about your guys.
So DJ is I feel like one of my babies. He's been here since 9th grade. I had him since 9th grade. We moved up on varsity as a 9th grader. We saw a lot of potential in him at a very young age, and he's to the point now where he's going to be able to showcase the skills he has now. North League is a funny story about that. He comes out first year playing football, and he's like a pit bull out there. He's like the run. he's always around the ball, always making plays, and I'm glad for him to be a part of his team this year, definitely.
All right. Thank you, Coach Walker. Your guys are doing great. And, guys, I want to move on to you, and I want to ask you, since we're spotlighting the specific position, I want to ask you what you feel like the main job of a cornerback is on defense.
I feel like if you eliminate the big plays as a corner with the ball over your head, you'll have a good chance of winning the game. I feel like if we just don't give up big plays, we'll be successful as a secondary.
Okay. Kylan, what's the hardest thing? So you're new at this, right?
Yes, sir.
What's the hardest thing about playing cornerback?
I don't know. The hardest thing, probably trying to see what the receivers finna run, because you never know they're running, and it's certain coverage you got to do when you playing corner.
And what do you think the strength of your particular group is?
Physicality.
Physicality. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I say chemistry.
Okay.
I feel like we all came in the. We all was on BLR together on scout team, and I feel like that helped with this year's secondary, and you can see it. It shows. So I say chemistry.
Do y'all feel like you're the group really? The defensive secondary is the group that wasn't getting as much attention. Everybody knows about the Hillcrest defensive line. Everybody knows about the linebackers. Do you feel like y'all are the group that had the most to prove this year?
Yes, sir. Definitely.
How did you feel about that?
Coming off last year, it was rough as a secondary. So Coach Walker and Coach Sims, we made a promise to them that we'll fix it and we'll put last year behind us and prove everybody in the city wrong. Coming into Hoover, we had our own school doubting us, so we felt like it was a revenge game, and we made a promise to Coach Sims and Coach Walker that we'll give everything we got, and we won. So.
Yeah, for sure. A huge win. What are some of the main things, Kylan, that you've learned? You're new to this. What are some of the main things that you've learned from this guy over here, Coach Walker?
The main thing I learned is play field's going to play with everything you got. Get to the ball at any cost and do your job. And like Coach say all the time, want to know every time you go on the field. Ran everywhere. and I tried my hard to do that.
All right, Coach Walker. What's your assessment of these guys and how they've done through 3 games? What are they doing well, and what do they still need to work on?
They're stepping up to the plate. One thing I like about those guys, man, each and every week we're improving. Like Norfolk said, my motto has always been be 1-0 in everything you do.
Okay.
And, so I mean, each rep be 1-0. When you rep, everything you do, when you even in the classroom, be 1-0 in the classroom. And so that each and every week I feel like we are improving, and them just understanding the game and where they are in the game and the concept of the game is what I love. That's improving each and every week.
You got a challenge coming up from Vestavia because those guys have a lot of trickeration, like they like to say. So how do you teach your guys to be disciplined and not fall for all that eye candy?
The biggest thing dealing with Vestavia, they do a lot, and a lot of trickery, is just do your job. Don't do nobody else's job but your own. I feel like if everybody do their job, each 11 players on the field do their job, we'll be successful. So I stress to them, like, don't try to go outside the realm. Just do what you're supposed to do. We'll be successful.
All right, sounds good. Successful. So far, pretty successful, I'd say. 3-0, one of the biggest wins in Hillcrest football history this past Friday night. Guys, let's go do it again. Get another big one this coming Friday night.
Yes, sir.
Thanks for joining us. That's our cornerback position spotlight for tonight here on the Hillcrest Huddle. We're going to take a break, and when we return, a special treat coming back for you. We've got the Coordinator's Corner. We've got Coach Greg Guy and Coach Greg Patterson, our offensive and defensive coordinators. They're coming up next. Keep it here on the Hillcrest Huddle on Tide 100.9 FM. All right, here we go. We're back on the Hillcrest Huddle. Live from Walk-On Sports Bistro, the Patriot Nation out celebrating the big win over the Hoover Bucks this past Friday night, moving the team to 3-0 overall, and also, more importantly, 1-0 in Class 7A Region 3. And one of my favorite segments that we do here on the Hillcrest Huddle every so often is about to happen here. We've got the Coordinator's Corner. To my right, the defensive coordinator, Greg Patterson. To my left, the offensive coordinator, Greg Guy. And I don't think there are two better Gregs in the sport of high school football.
Well, I appreciate that.
Than these two Gregs right here, and we're lucky to have you guys. Thanks for joining us. And, man, I tell you, let's just talk from your perspective, defensive side of the ball, then your perspective, offensive side of the ball, and just kind of relive this past Friday night and your feelings about that.
I thought, obviously, we did what we needed to and had to do to win the game. Coach Mitchell mentioned to him today, there was things that we could have done. The couple of fourth downs, jumping off sides, cost us 10 points, and then I think we had another offsides penalty that ended up costing us points. I mean, you can't do those things and survive in this region, and luckily enough we did. But, we played fast, physical. The kids were, when they made big plays, we didn't panic,
Exactly.
Finally, when they got some drive, some movement and got a drive put together, they get down there and we hold them to the field goal, you know. So things like that. I mean, that was a winning combination for us on the defensive side. The 3 and out after halftime was huge.
That's what I was going to ask you about.
Yeah.
Now, was there something special that happened at halftime that kind of got everybody ready for that?
There was a certain play that they were getting us on, and we made a few adjustments on it and kind of tried to take that away. As a matter of fact, one of the adjustments is what happened with Miles on they run a little glance behind him, and he settled back a little bit better in coverage and was right there under it. So the coaches did a good job under the tent and at halftime of getting that communicated to the kids. And the kids, there's two things there. You got to communicate it to them, and they got to follow it.
Right.
And that's what happened all night, Friday night.
Yeah. All right, Greg, from an offensive perspective, talk about your team.
Obviously, we had some explosive plays, which I think in this region and in this level of football, you got to be able to create some explosives. To say you're just going to line up and run 10, 12 plays down the field and score consistently is probably not, a reality. So we were able to create some big plays in the pass game, and then, kind of in the second half, we were able to kind of get them outflanked at times and some formation stuff and really lean on them running the ball, and, I think that helped us a ton. Obviously, been able to kind of bleed the clock out, maintain possession of the ball, keep it away from them, and we had some guys step up and just make some big plays when they had to make them. I think probably one of the bigger plays in the game that probably won't get talked about is the Jacoby Harris taking the toss on the last drive and staying in bounds.
Yeah.
And that was huge for him.
Yeah.
He easily was right there on the sideline.
That's smart football right there.
Cuts it back inside, stays in bounds, makes him take a timeout, and obviously we're able to finish it off on that drive. But, just little things like that we did. For the most part, pretty mistake-free. Obviously things here and there we want to clean up, but overall, pretty happy, obviously, with our performance.
When you're up there calling plays, I know you have specific plays that you want to run, and as the game goes on and you see things happening with the defense, how do you know when to make those adjustments and when to call which play at what time and so forth?
Well, that's a group effort. I'll say the big slant we hit to Caden in the second, late in the third, last play of the third quarter, up for the fourth quarter is a long 3rd and 9 our own territory. Hit Caden on a slant for about 30. That was actually a play Coach Chris kind of came up with about the middle of the second quarter. We had run a version of that play earlier in the game out of a different formation, and we just kind of paired two plays together that we had run before.
So you invented the play in the midst of the game.
Lack of a better term, yeah. We kind of came up with it in the second quarter, then we put it in on the board in halftime to show them exactly what we were talking about. And it came up huge on a 3rd and 9 deep in our own territory. Late in the third quarter, and that was the drive we went down and ultimately scored our last touchdown. So,
all right, you guys have been coaching football for a long time, and Greg, you've been at Hillcrest for a long time. What year did you graduate?
2006.
2006. Okay, so you've been around this program for a really long time, and you started coaching here what year?
2014.
Okay, so you've been around for a long time. Would you say that this is the biggest regular season win in Hillcrest football history?
Yeah, probably so. I think it's hard to think of another one that would, in the regular season, that would stack up to this one. Just for what it means, I've been a part of I've been a part of 6 of the other 7 on the other side. So,
Right.
I've felt that on the other side as well as a player and a coach, and so it was nice to get back on the other side of it this week. And so, yeah, I mean, probably so.
Okay. Coach Patterson, I want to move back to you. Last year, Vestavia, man, they were shuffling things around, all kinds of motion, eye candy, all that kind of stuff, all kinds of cheese for the mousetrap, like Miles likes to say, don't bite the cheese, right? How do you deal with that this year? Do you think you're more prepared to deal with that this year from
Well,
them?
you know, we've talked about it last year, being new to the region and all that, and so, yeah, you have to grow up in the region pretty quick, and you're going to see a variety of things. I mean, they give you a lot of different looks. They give you usually a team that has a lot of formations runs few plays. Usually a team that runs a lot of plays has few formations. They do both. They're going to give you hundreds of looks, hundreds of different plays. And, you know, like you think it's trick plays, but somebody in the office said it best. That's just who they are. I mean, they run one play. They run a speed option, pitch it to the guy. He's going to throw it. It's not there. They come back. He pitches it back to the quarterback, and he's – I mean, and you don't know if that is the play or if that's just something they had lived, you know, but they're great at doing that kind of stuff. So, I mean, you just got to be it's like playing triple option football.
Yeah, right.
You've got to be where you're supposed to be every play and be disciplined. If you're not, they're going to find it. And, I mean, they're going to make you pay for it.
Right. Greg, and it's also the same way with their defense. They do a lot of movement, a lot of disguising of what they're doing, do they not?
Yeah, they do. Some very unconventional things, some things that you look at on film and you're like, how in the world do they get away with that? And, but, you know, at the end of the day, there's a rhyme and a reason for everything they do. I don't think you can get in try to call the perfect play, match with them, try to figure out exactly where they're going to be and call the perfect play because of that. Because, I mean, you can line up in the same formation 3 times and they're going to line up 3 different ways to it. And so I don't think you can get involved in that. I think, you know, you got to, you know, kind of what we said early in the weeks, you know, told our players, like, you know, we got to put it back on y'all to go make plays. Like, that's, we're going to call a bad play at some point in the bad numbers, and y'all got to bail us out and like, just go make some plays. And they're going to get you on some, and that is what it is. You got, and we just got to try to win more than they do on it.
Right. Okay, coming off a big high like this, how do you maintain that focus and that balance and not get too carried away with such a big win?
Well, to me, you know, we had a heart-to-heart on the defensive side today with them of not paying some attention. But, you know, you come out this week and lay an egg, and last week means nothing.
Right.
I mean, so, you know, there's a bigger goal than winning one game here. I mean, it's a grind, and it's a big grind for the month of September, as Coach Mitchell's been saying, for our schedule, the way it's set up. I mean,
crazy.
So you can't get hung up on one game in the future, in the past. You've got to be ready to go play the one that's in front of you this week.
Right. Greg?
I mean, I say all the time, I think, you know, anything can happen once. Once is a fluke. It's kind of how I look at things. Anything's can happen one time. So you go win one big game and you don't show up ready to play the next one, and where does that get you? You know? And so I think it's important to, if you do it twice, if you do it 3 times, then that's who you are. You know, and that's what we got to prove this week is that's who we are. It wasn't a fluke. You know, it wasn't crazy things that happened that caused us to win that game. We won that game because we're a really good team. But the only way you're going to prove that is to follow it up the next week and do the same thing against another high-quality opponent again.
I heard a new expression today. Y'all tell me what you think of this. It's the internal standard. It never changes, right?
That's
regardless
right.
of how big the win is, how big the loss is, whatever. It's an internal standard. All right, thanks so much, guys, for joining us. Coach's Corner, Coordinator's Corner. Awesome as always. I appreciate you joining us, and we appreciate you out there joining us on the Hillcrest Huddle. We'll be back here next Tuesday night, and be sure to join us Friday night if you can't come to Vestavia, Hillcrest Football Broadcast Network on YouTube, on the Hillcrest Football Broadcast Network, or on the NFHS Network. We'll see you then. Go Pats.